Hey y'all, I am coming to you tonight. I didn't mean to. I was going to read reality TV, The Saga of the Hatfields and the McCoys. I had gotten through the first paragraph when I got an alert, and it was that Supreme Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has passed. And it was like 40 minutes ago, and I've been getting nothing but alerts since. 2 weeks ago on Friday, actor Chadwick Boseman died. And a month before that, Breonna Taylor got shot, and Mr. Floyd was killed. And in between that time, Mr. Blake got shot in his back. It just seems like 2020 is not playing. 2020 is not playing, okay? Meanwhile, babies have been born. All kinds of things are going on, you know. I'm watching a live right now. Um, they're outside of the Justice Department, I believe. Just a group of people just milling around. And let me see what they put on the screen. Hold on, where's my glasses at? Child, I don't know where them things at. I can't never keep up with. Oh, they over there. Okay, listen. It says, seen outside Supreme Court after the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. If I was in D.C., is where I would be. Look. Let me see. You know, that's why you can't put your hope in human beings because they die. You have to have something supernatural and divine in order to put your faith and hope in for, consistency in your life. You know, I think she's been alive well, I know she has. She's been alive my whole life. This is the first hour in the world that I've been here since I was born that she hasn't been here. And that's true for everybody. Everybody watching now, unless you're over 87 years old. Um, this is really something. I want to call, my auntie, but I'm not gonna call Nene. I'm not gonna call her. I didn't call her about Chadwick. Um, I did call her about Triple X Tentacion. Um, but and that's when I realized I just, because she feels some kind of a way about all of this, and I don't want her to be more sad. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you think I'm wrong about it. But she's getting up there, and I just don't want to. I don't want to talk to her about, death and stuff like that. I'm getting lots of alerts, and yeah, this is CNN. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies at 87. Um, let's go to Google. See what Google is saying. I know that the Supreme Court has some kind of a contingency plan. Um, I don't know what that might be. Okay. Okay, let's see. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies at 87. Um, she died surrounded by her family, just like Chadwick, at her home in Washington, D.C., due to complications of metastatic pancreas cancer. Okay. She was as pioneering as she was brash. She died on Friday, that's today. The court said she was 87. The court said Justice Ginsburg, a lifelong champion of women's rights and a fierce advocate for gender equality, died surrounded by her family at her home in Washington, D.C. Okay. Chief Justice John Roberts said, "Our nation has lost a jurist of historic stature. We at the Supreme Court have lost a cherished colleague. Today we mourn, but with confidence that future generations will remember Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg as we knew her, a tireless and resolute champion for justice." Despite her diminutive stature, Justice Ginsburg larger than life both on and off the bench. Viewed as a feminist icon, she broke countless barriers, never shying away from making contentious comments along the way. With everything from her high court opinions to her octogenarian workout routines, earning her the nickname the Notorious RBG. And I remember her on Saturday Night Live. Um, Kate McKinnon, I think she would be. That's a Ginsburg. I remember all of those skits about Justice Ruth. Um, so it says her rabid fan base called her the Notorious RBG. uh, Diagnosed with cancer 4 times, Justice Ginsburg had numerous health scares, including several recent hospitalizations. Her death will open a pivotal seat on the court less than 50 days before the election. NPR reported that in her final days, Justice Ginsburg dictated a statement to her granddaughter, Clara Spera, declaring, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed." And I agree with that. I agree with that. That the current administration should not appoint a judge to take her place since it is so few days to the election. Okay. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Friday night he has no intention of waiting. Uh-oh. You hear that? That's thunder. You hear that thunder, Moo? Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Friday night he has no intention of waiting and will put forward whoever President Donald Trump nominates. President Trump's nominee will receive a vote on the floor of the United States Senate, McConnell said in a statement. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who hailed Ginsburg as a champion for justice and a trailblazer for women, tweeted, "The American people should have a voice in the selection of their next Supreme Court justice. Therefore, this vacancy should not be filled until we have a new president." They are saying that Donald Trump will not be reelected. He will not be reelected. And I'm sure they're getting that because of the preliminary ballots that have already come in. Nobody wants Trump. Nobody wants Trump. Nobody. None of the preliminary, there have been more write ins for Donald Duck, not Donald Trump. Nobody wants Donald Trump. The only Donald they want is Walt Disney's Donald Duck. That's it. I don't think there ever was a president named Donald except for this one, and I don't think there ever will be another one ever again. This one has is such a piss poor job. But anyway, let's go on. The line was the exact same phrase Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used in 2016 to block then President Barack Obama's nominee, to fill the seat left vacant by the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. I remember that. And I remember that Mitch McConnell kept Barack Obama from appointing that judge to that seat. And now the tables have turned. That's the payback, honey. That's the payback. A sharp-tongued, moderate liberal, Ginsburg was appointed to the Supreme Court by President Bill Clinton in 1993. I remember that. And had repeatedly vowed to stay on as long as her health permitted, even when some liberals pressured her to step down during the Obama administration so a Democratic president could be guaranteed to appoint her successor, but she refused. Tell me who the president could have nominated this spring that you would rather see on the court than me, was the justice's tart response at the time. Those who faced her ire were offered no protection by political prowess or fame. She once called then presidential candidate Donald Trump a faker and publicly criticized NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick. How about that? For refusing to stand during the national anthem, she later apologized for the criticism. Okay? Despite ruffling some feathers, Ginsburg had a fervent following, with devotees who cared about her rigorous fitness regimen almost as much as they cared about how she voted on the High Court. Her likeness appeared on female empowerment T-shirts and other paraphernalia. I would say propaganda. That's a bad word, paraphernalia, negative connotation. Justice Ginsburg, who was only the second female justice to sit on the nation's highest court, was a fierce crusader for women's rights. She credited her mother, who died of cancer a day before Ginsburg. I keep saying Justice Ginsburg. They are not putting in the proper, they're just saying Ginsburg, Ginsburg, Ginsburg. I am self-editing and putting in Justice Ginsburg. Something is happening. Okay. Her mother influenced her in her advocacy for women. My mother told me two things constantly. One was to be a lady, the other was to be independent. The latter was something very unusual because for most girls growing up in the 1940s, the most important degree was not your BA, but your MRS. Ginsburg said in an appearance at Duke University in 2005. Her path to the Supreme Court was laden with obstacles. Born on March 15, 1933, in Brooklyn, New York, Justice Ruth graduated with a degree in government at the top of her class from Cornell University in 1954. The same year, she married her college sweetheart, Martin Ginsburg, who became a leading tax attorney. The couple moved to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where he was stationed with the Army Reserve. She worked for the Social Security Administration only to be demoted after becoming pregnant with their first child, who was born in 1955. Returning east, Justice Ginsburg enrolled in Harvard Law School in 1956 before transferring to Columbia Law School. She tied for first in her class when she received her law degree in 1959. Okay? But when she applied for jobs afterwards, she discovered that most law firms didn't want her, despite her sparkling credentials. In the 50s, the traditional law firms were just beginning to turn around on hiring Jews, but to be a woman, a Jew, and a mother, that combination was a bit too much, she once wrote. Justice Ginsburg eventually got a job clerking for the U.S. District Judge Edmund Palmieri in Manhattan before she moved to Rutgers University, where she was a law professor from 1963 to 1972. She became pregnant with her second child while teaching at Rutgers, and, fearing she would get fired, hid her growing stomach by wearing baggy clothes. She gave birth over the summer break in 1965 and returned to work in the fall. She then taught at Columbia, where she became the university's first female tenured professor. And that's big, gaining tenure. Justice Ginsburg devoted herself to reversing the social norms that had made her own career so difficult. In 1972, the Ginsburgs, Martin Ginsburg, who died from cancer in 2010, was a highly respected tax attorney in his own right, led the legal team that successfully argued an appeal on behalf of a man who was denied a tax deduction for dependent care expenses related to the support for his 89-year-old mother. That's amazing. The 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals found that the IRS regulation under which the deduction was denied was a special discrimination premised on sex alone, which cannot stand, a ruling that became crucial to decades of sexual discrimination jurisprudence and a central part of the 2018 movie On the Basis of Sex, written by Andrew Stiepleman, Justice Ginsburg's nephew. A biographical documentary, RBG, also became a surprise hit in mid-2018 as Justice Ginsburg emerged as a symbol for activists, especially women, opposed to the administration of the Donald. Justice Ginsburg would continue to challenge gender-based laws throughout the 1970s as a volunteer lawyer for the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, for which she also served as a founder and director of the Women's Rights Project. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter appointed her to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. She served in that role until Clinton appointed her to the Supreme Court. Throughout her tenure on the High Court, Justice Ginsburg remained at the forefront of gender equality law. In 1996, she wrote the majority decision that struck down Virginia Military Institute's men-only admissions policy as violating the 14th Amendment. Women seeking and fit for VMI quality education cannot be offered anything less, Justice Ginsburg wrote. While she has become a heroine to many activists, she has said she didn't consider herself one of them at first. I did not think of myself as a feminist in the 1950s, she said in a 1988 speech. She fought for women's legal rights, she said, for personal, selfish reasons. And she never expected to end up on the Supreme Court. In a 1993 New York Times profile, childhood friends remembered the girl nicknamed Kiki Bader, as the one who chipped her tooth while twirling batons for a high school football team's game. She was very modest and didn't appear to be super self-confident, Ann Burkhart Kittner, a close high school friend, told the Times. She never thought she did well on tests, but of course she always aced them. As a justice, she voted for workers' rights and the separation of church and state. Her opinions and dissents often drew attention for their blunt but eloquent explanation of her positions. Her strongly worded dissent in Ledbetter versus Goodyear. I remember that. Ledbetter is a cousin of mine, twice removed. Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, Goodyear. Mm, mm, mm. Um, in 2007, explicitly called on Congress to relax the statute of limitations on equal pay lawsuits, observing that a worker knows immediately if she is denied a promotion or transfer. Compensation disparities, in contrast, are often hidden from sight. They're confidential. Many companies frown on you discussing salary and compensation. President Barack Obama signed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, named in honor of the plaintiff, in 2009. In 2013, Ginsburg joined the majority in striking down the Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA, ruling that same sex couples married in states where such weddings are legal are entitled to the same federal benefits as heterosexual couples. In one of the case's most striking moments, Ginsburg said at oral arguments that DOMA institutionalized two kinds of marriage: the full marriage and then this sort of skim milk marriage. Just a few months later, she became the first Supreme Court justice to officiate at a same sex wedding, presiding over the marriage of her longtime friend Michael Kaiser to economist John Roberts at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, of which Kaiser was then president. And in a searing dissent to the court's 5-4 Hobby Lobby contraception ruling in 2014, which held that the government can't require certain employees to provide insurance coverage for birth control that's in conflict with their religious beliefs. She wrote, "The court, I fear, has ventured into a minefield." Justice Ginsburg had overcome serious health problems before. In February 2009, when she was 75, she had surgery to remove a small tumor in her pancreas. They missed something. Pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers, spreading quickly and seldom detected early. And like many other patients, she had no symptoms. In her case, the tumor was discovered early enough to remove. In summer 2019, Justice Ginsburg again had a brush with cancer in her pancreas, receiving radiation therapy for a malignant tumor. She also had colon cancer in 1999, for which she received treatment and a heart stent put in 2014. In July 2018, Ginsburg was hospitalized after having broken 3 ribs. I think she fell. Let's say. At the end of that year, she had surgery for early stage lung cancer. Justice Ginsburg is survived by her children, Jane and James. While she was serious about the causes that were important to her, she also made time to have fun. In November 2016, at age 83, she had a small speaking role on the opening night of The Daughter of the Regiment, a show at the Washington National Opera. Asked beforehand by NPR whether she thought she would have stage fright when it came time to step out of her comfort zone as a Supreme Court justice and perform to the opera, she just laughed. "What's to be nervous about?" she said. Feisty. Oh, very feisty. Well, she was a good egg, and she has gone on. Well, she's left her body. I don't know where she went. Um, she's gone. You know, Clinton appointed a lot of women in his administration. Not all of them stuck, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg was one who did. Um, there was a lady from his state, black lady, that he appointed, and because she believed in birth control, people just were all up in a tizzy, and she stepped down, or she was, taken from the position, and I don't know where she is now, but I supported her appointment, Just like, uh, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I supported that appointment as well. She's gone. May she rest in peace. You know, may God be with her until we see her again. And God be with you until I see you again. God bless all of my subscribers, everybody who stayed to the end. God bless you and thank you for that. Please like this video, share this video, and say a prayer and light a candle for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who has transitioned tonight.